Alright, so first thing, this is going to be a combination of two different vlogs. The first one was recorded all the way back at the end of October, and right now it's basically a few days from Christmas in the middle of December. We just got messed up by time taken to go to and from school, and couldn't really find the time or justification to edit the video even though I recorded it. Instead of either studying or sleeping, we're just relaxing. So I'm not sure how the vlog will work going forward, if it's getting any better with the new year. But right now, since I'm on break, I have time to put this all together. So we'll go through that and then go through the results of it and how that's changed and what's going forward from there. Alright, so welcome back to the 3 years to go pro vlog. It's been a very long time. I said last time I'll get back to you when I started to get an idea of how we work going forward. And it's now late October, so that gives you an idea of how much has been happening, has to change and edit a bit. So I'll just get into it and I'll go down all that's happening so far. Alright, so firstly I've just been getting a routine now in terms of school and training. So getting my face-to-face classes now at UA. I'm going to second year, so it's a bit tougher in many different ways. So just getting that in place and then finding time to record has been a bit difficult. But apart from that, there's also a lot been happening that's been changing. I wanted to wait until that was finished until I started to record this video. So my last week talked, I was talking about doing triathlon training maybe. So since then I've been able to go down. What it turns out is that their training is only really on Sunday mornings. So I go down there before church. In terms of training itself, so the big part of it will be swimming for me, since that's what I'll be the worst at, and then the cycling and running. But in terms of the swimming, first of all, I'm actually injured my shoulder, so I couldn't swim for those 6 weeks, like I said. So it was about 6+ weeks I couldn't be swimming, so it's only cycling and running. And the cycling, after doing it for about 6 weeks, I can say that I don't really feel that it's assisting me as much as I wanted to. When they did about 40k cycling overall, so each Sunday that's about 40k, and then a maximum of like 10k runs. So just the cycling, I feel that I can't really push myself as much as I want. I just naturally slow down, and because there's nobody else on the road with me, since they're in the swimming mainly, it's kind of hard to push myself and see if there's an improvement to be made there. So I find myself going at a fast but manageable pace for all of it. So I don't think I can improve with the training that I have right there. And oftentimes I find the running to be more difficult, even though I'm more experienced in it. So I ended up was able to get my 5k time down to about 18 minutes after doing the cycling. So that gives you an impression that it's not really the cycling was really pushing me as much as I wanted. So I'm thinking moving on from that maybe. And as for the swimming, that comes on a bit later, so I'll get into that. But for the swimming, I also couldn't improve my swimming at any other time, because it turns out the UA pool was empty, so I couldn't do that until very recently, which I get into later. And so in the few weeks I was recovering from most of the recovery with the shoulder, I went to the stadium pool. So there I do about 1,000 to 1,200 meters overall in terms of swimming, and take around 4 or 5 rest breaks in between. Because there's also no coach there, it's kind of hard to improve myself. So I don't think I can make one improvement to just like times for triathlon. So I think at this point the triathlon is something I'll maybe do for fun, like in the off season or after I'm finished with track and field overall. Yes, I was mentioning with the tendonitis and bursitis in my shoulder. So I went to the physio for that, and they gave me basically strengthening work to do on it. They do that and have some electro stimulation within me right now, and there's some massage on it. So it wasn't all intense, and it's only once a week. So most of the improvement came by doing strengthening work by myself at home. I looked online for some things as well that would improve that. So that's mainly what I'm doing. It's about 8 weeks later since I started that, and and see some improvement. It's not hurting as much in many situations, but in some cases still feel the pain, but had to stop the physio at some point because firstly it was trying to conflicting with the time for school, so it turns out as he went there, it's got more and more time was devoted to it, so by the end of it, it was around 3.5 hours I was spending there. I'm just waiting around for doctors to finish with their other patients, and it's me, and by the end of it, wasn't really doing anything for the shoulder. I wasn't feeling much change just from doing exercises. They're having me doing Superman exercises at the end of it, which was for the back. So because at that point, I knew I had to just kind of cut them off. So in review and just stop going to that at that point, since there was no more to be done, in my opinion, from there. Now for the track training itself, because of how school is face-to-face, I don't think it's possible for me to the training in the morning as normal. All my classes start at 8, and because it's face-to-face, I'm going to have to bathe and change and get back into the classes. So that's not really possible with the time that I have before. So it's mainly been doing in the middays and in the evenings that I've been doing track training overall. So that's a big change, and I'm just going to have some repurpose that I'll get into later, but I'll get into that. Yeah, so while I was doing the triathlon training and coming to terms with the fact that I might not be able to go in the morning, I decided that for now I'm going to be training up to a half marathon in the first week of December, which is a regular half marathon, and between that time I'll be doing some 5K road races as well. So there's 2 of them. There's a Burger King one in the week of November 13th, I think, and then the UE Mona 5K in the week of November 20th. And there is some pressure for that UE Mona 5K because since it's UE Mona, I'm already being interviewed by the principal and all of that for doing 5Ks. There's so much pressure to get that working during time. So it's kind of pressure, but just working in it so far, and then most of the training is devoted to the half marathon at this point. Yeah, so for the half marathon, I'm training mostly using a program I found online for a sub 130 half marathon from Runners World. I talked to Coach Coleman actually about the situation I have with not being able to come in the mornings. I wanted to do the half marathon and training with triathlon. He basically said that for now it's okay for me to be training in evenings and afternoons, but coming into next year, it might be more difficult to just get that track on time, but I don't think the schedule for school will get any better, so it will be interesting to see how that shapes up going forward. Not sure how much that's going to affect it, but we'll see what happens when that comes. So for the half marathon training, it's mostly by myself, midday and some evenings and some on the weekends as well. So for the training itself, I tried to, the UE pool actually recently opened just about a week ago, so I'm trying to incorporate that into the half marathon training as well, just to build up the cardio as much as I can to do the half marathon and the 5Ks. So they open throughout the week from 12 to 1. That's the only time it's free, and of course they don't want them spending money on doing training. So like I was doing with the stadium pool, that's a $500 every time I'm going. I don't want to be doing that, so decided to schedule it for 12 to 1, and that works for Tuesday and Thursday. So the schedule now is that Mondays at around 4, I'm doing running. Tuesday, that's swimming and running, that's centered around the 12 to 1 range. Cardio swimming and then running then after. I don't want to be swimming after I run because I'm not sure how my breathing will affect that in terms of not being as comfortable in the water. That might get more dangerous, or in the best case, just not as effective in terms of amount of distance I can cover in the amount of time. And there's also the issue of having to stop running short to go swimming and all that, not the pace. I think it works better just to do the swimming first, and then on Wednesday, I have runs at around 5 in the evening, and Thursday I get into swimming and running at around 12, and then on the Friday I have running at around midday or so, just fitting with the school schedule. And then Saturdays or Sundays I have a long run at schools up to the half marathon distance, just to get an improvement there. So in terms of the schoolwork and getting to and from school, it turns out that some days it really doesn't make sense for me to come all the way back up to Stony Hill to get back home and then go back down in the morning of classes at 8. So it used to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, but the schedule changed a bit. So now Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm staying at my grandmother's house. So Wednesday night, Thursday night, staying at grandmother's house, overnighting, and then come back in on the Friday afternoon after classes and training. So that makes things a bit easier to do the training and then just getting to and from school overall. But that's also planning how I'm bringing food from home, bringing snacks from home and all that. So it's a bit of work, but I think it's more effective at this point to be doing that. And you might have seen on my hand, I was able to get a Fitbit tracker. So this has GPS built in. It took a while to get it working at all in Jamaica, but eventually started working. I was able to track without carrying my phone, so that's something that has been helpful, not having to carry the phone around when I'm doing a run to track it. But yeah, so the training itself has been going decently. I've seen that the times they have for a sub 1:30 half marathon, I've been able to do that pretty easily. Something that maybe actually aim for around 1:25, but I don't want to push myself into the 1:20 on program behalf because first time doing half marathon first of all, and secondly I don't want to injure myself because I have 5Ks to do as well. So I'm thinking that the time I'll be aiming for is around 1:25, but we'll see how that shapes up going forward. Yeah, and with that training itself, I'm kind of getting worried because I was about from last week or so, or week before, I was trying to feel some pain at left Achilles when I'm running, so just pressing off, I was feeling pain, and would eventually go away when I was running after a while, but then come back in when I'm doing my stretching and core work afterwards. So I was fearful that might get worse, but this time I was able to just push through and continue working, and it's gone down over time. So I don't think it will get any worse. Hopefully it doesn't, and hopefully it doesn't start affecting my runs either way. So for both 5K and half marathon. So just praying for all the best in terms of that situation. For the core work, I'm trying to just alternate between Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which I have to do the upper and lower arms, the back and the oblique muscles, as well as the planks and the wheel. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, do the swimming and running. I do this, so just to go a complete arm workout with just a few of them that work both sets, and then the planks. So I think that's working pretty recently. The tone that I'm getting in the abs is fairly up to standard in terms of what I'm doing in normal training. Maybe going into January or so, start increasing it to see if we can get it any better with the just core work training, but that's to come. So that's our main core work. So it's mainly just at this point focusing on getting half marathon ready and getting as best as I can ready for that 5K, especially doing 1 or 5K, so the best as I can in that. I'm at the school work itself, so it's been decent overall. There's change and shift in mentality in going back to face-to-face structure. I'm finding that essentially there might be not any actual difference in time, essentially because I have to be changing and bathing and going to and from home, eating and all of that. I have less time essentially to get the work done, But it's not to the point where I'm always stressing. So some days I have to get up early to do the work, but overall it's alright. The subject, so it's trying to focus a bit more into what I'm interested in, which is animals and biology specifically. But there's still some subjects that you have to do that are outside of that range. And I've had a lot of problems, especially with group work, which is always terrible, but because I have less time to do work myself, I have to rely on them to start doing things for themselves, and a lot of times they don't. So just stress and fighting to all that, but I can't complain too much. I think I'm doing decently overall. There's some scale in terms of the grades because with university you don't get so much feedback, so you might be doing something wrong and you don't know. There's one I'm particularly concerned about, but I'll have to come when it comes, and if anything, just figure and take it over as best as I can. So doing is just getting the school done as best as I can, and then half marathon training from Monroe's World. Do that with a bit of swimming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and try to hit that a bit. So hit the 5K I'm working up to that as well, and build up my core work, and that should go until around December, in which case I will see what's happening with Coach Coleman in the morning, and we'll be able to work out. Alright, so when I last left you guys off, I was getting ready to continue my training for the half marathon, as well as getting ready for the 2 upcoming 5K that were happening. I think I did fairly well working with the longer distances and the longer time that would take. I wasn't really tired of any of them, just getting the time to it. Sometimes interrupted by schoolwork I need to do, or just the time it takes. So I couldn't have the time to run and then get home and have everything in order. But overall, I think I was fairly consistent with it as well as the core work, so that's good. And then going on to the 5K, so the first one was the Burger King 5K, which takes place out in Portmore. It's a fairly flat course. It's actually one of the most flat courses that we have in Jamaica. And I think it has a lot of school boys running out. So you have you from KC, and in past years from Calabar. This year is mainly from KC. So one thing about KC is that they normally take a lot of athletes from Kenya and that side of Africa as well. So you have some connections there, and they will take some students to get them scholarships for training in Jamaica. So in the past few years, they've been fairly dominant at Boys and Girls Champs, separate from Roy Benson when he was running here. So that is a good competition in that way, as well as the national champion, Mr. Dwayne Graham, so he was there as well. So that, and then he had another familiar name from 5Ks in the past, which was Garfield Gordon. So he used to be the university runner from GC Foster College, so he would sometimes do the 5Ks there and was pretty up there with the times. So he's been doing it less, so it seems. Not sure I'll change with COVID, but it was good to have some competition there. So overall, I came 4th. So the start of the race was fairly good. I felt the pace was good, and I kept pace up to about the middle. And then from the middle, they started separating a bit. I wasn't really confident in spiking my pace in the same way. Maybe I could have, but I didn't feel confident with it at the time. Yeah, actually finishing, I came in at a time of 16:07 or so. So I think that's actually really great. That's a PB actually. So getting that so early in the season on the road is a really good sign. And another thing is that even though I wasn't as confident in it, I think I could have gone a bit faster. I'm not sure how dropping into 1540s or anything like that, but I think I've gone a bit better. I'm sure I was confident in it, so that's a good sign going forward. Yeah, so the week after the Burger King 5K, you would have the UE 5K, and unlike the Burger King 5K, it's not really that flat course. It's actually a very hilly course, one of the most hilly ones I have remaining that I do. but the company that is not actually up to the full 5K. It's like 4.9 or 4.95 kilometers. So it's a bit shorter. I'm not sure how the time will translate overall, but actually got a new PB there as well of 15:56. So that's impressive for me to getting some new PBs on the road early in the season, even dropping sub 16, which I haven't been able to do so far. For the race itself, since I was feeling a bit more confident, since it's the same pace of road for training at UAE, I knew exactly where I could speed the pursuit on, so I was actually stayed back for most of the first part of the race, tracking the leaders, and then around the final 1-2 kilometers, I was able to pass like 3 or 4 people just going around the ring road. So yeah, that was really good, and I was able to do all the way up to third. So ahead of me was Greengram and Yoka as well from KC. So I think it's a good sign so far that I'm getting these high personal bests early into the season. And a good thing that happened even with the hills that were there. So even though it's a bit shorter, I was able to get a PB even with the lots of hills that are on that course. So I don't know how much better I'm gonna go on, but it's a good sign that I'm even getting these times there in the first place. And after the 5Ks, so I had about 2 weeks in between the last 5K, the U5K, up to the half marathon, which we're doing regular marathon out in the grill. So in that time, I managed to up the mileage a bit more. So I was doing like around 15 to 20K per day, apart from the first final few days of rest. So in my time, I was estimating because I couldn't really specify the time. The tracking software in Fitbit wasn't always working. It was sometimes just chip out for seemingly no reason. But I was guessing at that time that I could be running at about 1:30 or 1:30. So I estimated that for the regular marathon I could get under 1:25 very easily. So I came running in the grill. That was after the 2 weeks, and from that point I started out really slowly, because the thing about like these long distances of half marathon and marathon especially, but I haven't run a marathon, is that it's not really something you can start out fast and then like recover by running slowly. So they will hit a wall and we literally can't go any further. So I was fairly scared of that. I didn't want to push it a lot too early in the start. So my first 10K was about 10. Yeah, my first 10K was in about 40 minutes or so. So I was at 42 minutes, which is fairly slow. I was really comfortable. I was even typing my fingers to music in my head that I was playing as well. So it wasn't difficult. And once past that point, I felt more confident in trying to speed up. So I dropped the pace like a lot. I dropped like 10 to 15 seconds per kilometer off of it. And that time I passed like 6 or 7 different people. And since it's a turnaround course, so you go up one way and then turn around and come back. I saw the first place runner. He was like running at around 1:10, 1:12 pace. So able to get up to there. But my main concern was just not getting past, so I tried to just maintain the pace. But actually I sped up a little bit looking back at the splits, but I'm able to just maintain that pace up to the end. So in the end I came second in the half marathon and with a time of 1:24. So given how I started and how I was thinking for most of it, I think that if I would do it again in Finton, I think I could very easily get under 1:20 once I have the right mindset and the right pacing that I can track. I think we get under 1:20 fairly easily. So that's a good sign that from our first half marathon, was able to place in the top 3 overall, and that I could even see myself going into the 1:20 range. And another interesting thing with that half marathon is that they actually have cash prizes for the top 3 in each one. So for the first time ever, I'm actually getting prize money from one of our races. That's really interesting. It's not anything extravagant. It was 25,000 Jamaican. So even so, it's a good sign, a good encouragement. So you're getting like a cash prize for just racing. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon though for any other races. So from that point on, he was going back to the track. However, I was getting interrupted by like exams and studying flights and things that also had some car issues. So that had to be sorted out in between that. But either way, I was back onto the track. I'm not too much fanfare. Coach Willman was just congratulating me on the events I've run and getting back to work. So the training hasn't been any different from last year really. It's the same around 400s and 200s. So since I've returned, I've had about I've done like 2200s and 10 400s and things like that. So it's not, I forgot to bring my cycle most of the day as well since getting back into the habit. So it's not too bad, it's not too different. Not sure how long can I continue though, because in coming up to the next year, I have not seen at the timing will be any different, so I may not be able to go anymore in as well. So if that happens, then it might have to be that I go in the middle of the day and either follow his training sets out or try to do something on my own. It depends on how that's going to work out. But right now, I actually should have done the endurance yesterday. So from last year, that was just basically a 5k run around UAE. But I'm actually sick, as you can probably hear from my voice. So it's like a cool symptoms. I don't think it's any more serious than that. Actually coughing a lot when I went down this morning, so I decided like insurance road in that kind of condition. So from here, since it's so close to the Christmas as well as the New Year, I think that going forward we'll be starting back in January and then it's back to school as well. So I'm not all too sure how it's going to work out in terms of timing. We'll have to register for new courses as well and then see going forward. So goals for the new year. I'm going to try to get under 15. I think it's much more feasible now that I'm getting sub 16 on the road and even with the hills. So trying to get sub 15 on the track. I played more used to the running in spikes though, which is of course a different beast altogether. And then if I'm not even not getting sub 15, I want to think I can be national champion. I don't think the gap between myself and Mr. Graham, even if he's there or not so large, I can't surpass that with a concentrated effort. And another thing is that the kids people, since they are brought in from overseas, is actually run national championships. So there's a bit of increased chances of that happening as well. And another thing is that I want to do this year, that I'm just trying to look into the coming year and coming school years as well. That's when you start having the research projects to do, and have fairly big plans for research. I want to do something a bit more than just the standard ones. So I have to be talking to the head of department as well. But since that's happening, I'm not sure how much I can concentrate on running and getting into such a big difference in time, since a lot of it is spent doing research by myself as well. So we'll have to see how that going forward. But for now, those were my two goals for this year. So can't say when I'll be able to do this again. I'm on break now, which is why I'm getting the chance to record and edit. But if there's a new school year, it might be better, it might not be. So whenever I'm next able to record and edit, I'll have an update for this vlog.